D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So for this video, now I know it's taken me a little extra time to do this video, but I got sidetracked. I was gonna post this like a week ago, but I had some family issues and yada yada yada. So I'm going to talk about all of the new information and stuff that we got from D23 about the Eternals movie. Now I just have to say that I am excited for this movie, even though we didn't really get an overwhelming amount of information from it, from Comic-Con and then from D23, but I think it'll be interesting to see how they pull this off. So the synopsis for this, or the premise, is set at the beginning of the universe. The Eternals, an immortal alien race created by the Celestials, are sent to Earth to protect humanity from their evil counterparts, the Deviants. Now, real quick, the Celestials are these entities that were there before time itself or whatnot, and we have been introduced to a couple Celestials in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The first one that we got was the Nowhere in Guardians of the Galaxy 1, and that is the head of a dead Celestial. And then we also saw another one in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 where it was using the Power Stone. Now, in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, we got to see Peter Quill's dad, Ego. Now, in the comic books, he's not a Celestial, but in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he is a Celestial. So then, we also got a poster, and in the poster is Arishem, the Judge, and he is a Celestial, and now, in the Marvel comics, Arishem is the leader of the 4 celestial hosts of Earth, who judges civilizations influenced and seeded by the Celestials to determine if they should be culled from existence or are worthy of further influence and growth. So why would Arishem specifically be included in this Marvel Phase 4 a promo image? And that is because of the Celestials' influence on history of some of the MCU Phase 4 characters, aka the Eternals. So, just a real quick little backstory of the Eternals involves the Celestials first coming to Earth and creating 3 races: the superpowered Eternals, the unstable mutate race known as the Deviants, and normal humans programmed with genetic potential to develop superpowers or even mutate powers. Now, we haven't seen the Deviants yet, but we've seen one, and that was Thanos. He has deviant DNA in it, and so we have seen him. And since this is taking place before time or whatever, we might get to see the big baddie once more in the Eternals. Now, I just want to go real quick over, because they introduced some concept art for the characters at D23, and I want to go over all the old characters that we already know about, and then the new characters that they have talked about and they went over. So the first one I'm talking about is Angelina Jolie as Thena. Now she in the comics has been known to consort with deviants, so I'm thinking maybe she's like maybe kind of a bad guy in this, turned into a bad guy in this movie, who knows. But if you look at her costume, she's got the blonde hair, which she's had before in the movie Salt, and in some other ones. I can't remember them all off the top of my head. So she has had blonde hair. I hope it doesn't look like a fake wig. But if you look at her outfit, it kind of reminds me of Wonder Woman 1984. And Kevin Feige, even though he might not want to admit it, he has been on this thing where he's creating movies ahead of DC/Warner Brothers, so that way it's going to be hard for them to make movies, such as this one where Wonder Woman's outfit is looking like the Eternals' Thena's outfit, so they might start comparing them, which will suck. And then he is creating this Eternals movie because of they're gonna make the New Gods over at Warner Brothers. So anyway, so moving on. Richard Madden is playing Icarus, and he is the leader. And if you look at his outfit, it kind of looks like the comic book outfit. It's got that blue and everything. I like it. I like all of these. These kind of remind me of Thor's outfit and the Asgardians and how they look and everything. But they also kind of look a little bit Game of Thrones-ish, very Armor-esque. Speaking of Game of Thrones, Richard Madden is in it, and another character which we'll talk about in just a second. So then moving on is Kumail Nanjiani, and he is playing Kingo. Now, if you look at his, now in the, he took up residence in Japan and learned the ways of the samurai in the comic book, but if you look at his costume from this concept art, he doesn't look like a samurai at all to me, so I'm wondering if they're going to change up that little portion of his backstory a little bit. And, I mean, it will be interesting. I like Kumail Nanjiani. I think he's super funny, so I think that he'll definitely bring something to this role. I'm just curious as to if he'll still have that whole samurai aspect or whatever. It would be really cool to see him use a sword, so I even though he might not be a samurai, I hope they keep that part of it. Anyways, Lauren Ridloff, please don't get mad at me if I pronounce these names wrong, is playing Makari, which is an expert mechanical engineer and speedster. So her outfit, this has been this gender role has been flipped and everything. So instead of a man, it's a woman, but it's got that red from the comic books, and I think she looks good. I mean, and she's also deaf, which will be interesting to see since she's a speedster. But I think that this costume looks good, and I think, yeah, she looks great. She looks great. I love her hair. I love the hair. I just love it. I say the bigger, the better. So the next one is Brian Tyree Henry as Fastos, and he is a master weaponsmith. Now, he looks a little bit different from the comic books. They've obviously race-bent this one, which is fine by me. I'm not a purist when it comes to race or gender, but I do think that they could have did a little bit more with this character's look, but at the same time, if you look at the comic book character, he kind of looks like the Executioner from Thor, so I can see why they wouldn't want to go with that look. But I do think that this one is probably my least favorite out of all of them from the concept art, just because it just looks the same as everybody else, which is understandable, but at the same time, I wish they would have taken a little bit more from the comic book look and gave it to him. But it doesn't look bad. It's just my least favorite out of all of them. So next is Selma Hayek as Ajak, who has spent most of her time of her thousands of years on Earth in Siberia. Now this one looks completely different from the comic books, kind of like Kingo from the samurai look, and Ajak doesn't look anything like the comic book character. First off, it's also gender flipped, which is fine. I love Selma Hayek. I'm telling you right now, that woman is getting hotter with age. I tell you what, she looks so beautiful. It's ridiculous. I don't know what she's doing, but send them my way. Anyways, so I think that she looks beautiful in this outfit. I think that if they would have went with the comic book outfit, it would have looked gross. So I think they did a good job here. I would like to see her with a helmet. Not that she won't have a helmet, because this is the first concept art we've seen. But I personally would have liked to have seen her with a helmet on, or hope to see her with a helmet on. But I do think she looks good. So next is Leah McHugh as Sprite, who is a trickster that is stuck with the appearance of a preteen child. Now, I think that they also gender flipped this one, which is fine, and I think that she looks great. I think that this looks kind of like the comic book, and I think that she looks really great. I really hope that this part looks good, and yada yada yada. I think that, again, she looks great. So next is Don Lee as Gilgamesh. Now this one does not look like the comic book at all either, but I'm kind of happy for that because I think Don Lee in this concept art looks better than the character from the comic book. I wish they would have taken the more color palette from the comic book, because he kind of looks kind of more like dark, but this is fine. It's totally fine. I think that, again, he does look great. I do like Don Lee. If you want to see a good movie he's in, I suggest The Train to Busan. It's so good. It's a zombie movie if you're into that kind of thing, but yeah, it's so good. Okay, so anyways, now we're going to move on to the new characters that they unveiled at D23, and the first one we're going to talk about is Barry Cohen, that's not how you say his name, but I don't know how to say it anyways, as Durig. And I think that he looks good here. He looks an awful lot like, what's-his-face from the Inhumans, but I think that he looks good. I personally like this actor. I think that he's good. in everything that I've seen him in. So I am interested in seeing him in this movie. I don't think he's going to be the bad guy, but I like the red and everything, and I just like from this concept art how he looks. So next I want to talk about is Gemma Chan was announced as Sersi. Now the thing that I like about this is I love Gemma Chan. She's so hot. Very elegant. I love the way she speaks. She's got that British accent or whatnot, and then, and again, she's beautiful. And she's playing Sersi. The only thing that I don't like about casting Gemma Chan is she was already Minerva in Captain Marvel. I don't like this. If you play one character, you can't play another one because Minerva looked like Gemma Chan with blue skin. They just painted her blue, and she looked like Gemma Chan. So I'm all like, it's fine, but at the same time, I'm like, I wish you wouldn't have cast her as Minerva because this Sersi character is a much better like a character because I think this is the lead character in the movie. So, and I'll talk more about her in just a second. So, next I want to talk about is Kit Harington as Dane Whitman or the Black Knight. Now, Kit Harington, of course, from Game of Thrones, also with Richard Madden from Game of Thrones, great and everything. I liked Game of Thrones except for the last couple seasons, besides the point. Anyways, so let me just explain Black Knight a little bit. Black Knight isn't the most popular Marvel character, but is a former member of the Avengers and the Defenders. Dane inherited the mystical cursed ebony blade from his uncle. The wizard Merlin forged the ebony blade from a substance called starstone that he discovered at the site of a meteor crash on Earth. He then enchanted the blade, turned it into a powerful arcane artifact. Now I just want to say two things about this. One, I like that they're introducing more magic. I hope that Merlin has a connection with Doctor Strange and maybe the Ancient One kind of thing. I think that would be great for one. Two, when in the MCU have we heard of a meteor hitting Earth, aka Wakanda? I hope that they also hook that in somewhere there maybe. I don't know if they will or not. I'm just saying that'd be kind of cool to do that also. But I think I'm not really too sure about Black Knight. He does ride on a flying horse, a Pegasus. He has rode on an actual Pegasus and then a metal Pegasus before. So I'm curious as to see what if they do that, which one they will do. Now it's obvious that these two, Kit Harington and Gemma Chan's character, Sersi and the Black Knight, now they have had a relationship in the comic books before. So I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if those two are the main character / love interest in this movie, which is kind of a bummer because I thought Richard Madden's Icarus and Sersi would be, but obviously with the casting of Kit Harington, he's going to be the main character along with Gemma Chan's character. So with all this information, and all these new looks with the characters, I think that this movie is starting to turn out to look really nice. We obviously don't know too much about the storyline and the plot, but I feel like the MCU, when you look at all their movies, they've given us something great rather than let us down. I think that they're batting, they're not batting at 100 because not all the Marvel movies are good in my opinion, but I do think that there are more good movies than bad movies. So what do you guys think about all this this Eternals information that has come out? Are you excited about this movie? Because I'm kind of excited about this movie. Are you excited for Gemma Chan and Kit Harington being the main characters of this movie? Go ahead and leave all your thoughts in that section down below. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscription button. I would greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!